morning, good afternoon and good evening, and welcome back to some Club 100 heavyweight sprint action, this time for round 6 at Rissington. Technically the 5th round of the year, but round 6 on the calendar as we get straight into heat 1, starting on the inside of the grid towards the back. As some of you may know, others may not. For sprint racing in karting, you get 3 heats, and you'll start towards the front, the middle and the back across those 3 heats, unless you're a novice, in which case you'll start towards the back of each grid, but you'll still have a front, middle and back of the novices. And then depending on how well you do in those heats, it will set your grids for the finals. But as we go in towards the very, very tight dogleg, we see someone trying up the inside there, but no room to get that move done, and they end up spinning, and that will be their heat essentially over. Only 7 minutes the heats, so you've got to try and move forward as quickly as possible. Going backwards, not your friend. As we managed to make another move there, thanks to the driver on the left, sort of being run out of room a little bit, but we're able to pick up the pieces, get another position, and then have a better run through the penultimate corner to be able to slot it up the inside through the final right-hand curve, and that's up another couple of positions. We come down towards the penultimate corner again. We can see overtaking move happening there by Tom Angier, but it was a tricky place to make an overtaking move on the inside because it hurt your run through the corner, and actually allowing the space, or giving the space and then carrying momentum as the defending driver actually worked out quite well most of the time. So Tom had to do a bit of rethink, but we get a better drive through the first 180 degree sort of quickish hairpin, allows us to slot it up the inside, make sure we leave room on the outside there to not put him over that very horrible curb, and then slightly defensive going into the dog leg just to sort of make sure he doesn't try going for it straight away, but have to keep it tight. Didn't get the best run, and you can see here gets a really good run. Does Tom going around the outside, see him alongside, and then he suddenly disappears, which makes me think he's backed out, but he hadn't, and he was still on the outside. So from my perspective, thinking that he'd sort of backed out and looked to tuck in, he was still alongside and ends up sort of hitting that curb, which had a tendency to kind of pull you off the track. I tried doing that the day before on Tim Williams in the SP60, tried holding it around the outside, and there's quite a lot of marbles around there, and if you hit that curb and it sort of drags you off, you go for a bit of a bumpy and grassy ride. But as we look forward, tried to make a similar move up the inside of that corner, but this time we weren't alongside going into it. We were trying to get ourselves into position, had a little bit of a nibble, but nothing doing. That hurt my momentum, and I had to have a little bit of defend from the cars behind, and luckily didn't lose too much time. Skip forward a little bit, again going down towards the dogleg. The dogleg itself wasn't necessarily the best overtaking move. If you could try and get a better run through the second part of it, as we see here, it allowed you to get alongside and then hold in that tighter line going up the hill in towards the fast right-hander, able to make that move stick. And then looking forward, we can see there's a group of 4 in front, but not really enough time left, having had to deal with that traffic, and it would end up being a P5 finish at the end of heat 1 from 13th on the grid. So not a bad start to the day, as we'd start in 3rd place for heat number 2. Got some fast drivers in this one, so it's going to be important to try and get away quickly. As we get a good start from the inside of the grid, managed to get up into 2nd straight away, and if we look behind, we can see an absolute gaggle of cars looking to try and get through as quickly as possible, but we're able to keep a slightly tighter line going into the hairpin to avoid anyone wanting to throw it up the inside, and that puts us comfortably into 2nd place as we look to try and chase down the leader. But this race is a tricky one. So if you're not aware, Club 100 is a random kart draw each time, and whilst the karts are really well maintained by the Club 100 guys, there are slight differences between them, and you can tend to sometimes find that karts that are performing really well at the start of a weekend might end up not performing as well just because they get worked slightly harder. And I think that was the case in the kart that I'd drawn for this one. As you can see, coming out of the dogleg and through the right-handers in general, not able to carry as much momentum and get the drive off the corner. And I had a feeling, as we can see, Alex Pritchard trying to go up the inside, but I'm able to hang it around the outside, keep it alongside going through the penultimate or the last corner. As Tom Angier looks to send it up the inside, but thinks better of it. Had no idea that was happening at the time, so it's quite fun seeing it back in the 360 camera view. But yeah, we've got Alex now attacking us, and you'll sort of see here round the right-handers struggling, and I think this was a kart that had been worked possibly really hard on the Saturday to enjoying the SP60 and the Enduro, and had just taken a bit more life out of these left-hand tyres. We've got Alex now coming up the inside into the dogleg, tried to hold it around the outside, but nothing doing. We have to give him the space and live to fight another day. Looking over the shoulder to see if we're going to be under attack from elsewhere. We've got Tamangier looking to go around the outside again, but this time thinks better of it. And even in that short sector of the lap, as you can see, Kurt Holmes now having an attack and looking to try and get up onto our rear bumper. As the camera flips back round, even though it was only a short section of track, just being compromised through the dogleg and then possibly not having the best of speed, being able to carry around the right-handers, Alex has already pulled out a handy little gap in front. So this has become a race where really I'd have wanted to be winning, or definitely in the top three, to a damage limitation race and trying to stay as high up as possible. As Kurt Holmes this time comes up the inside of the dogleg, and this isn't so much like I say, a top end issue. It's just the right-hander before just not being able to get the acceleration off the corner as well, and being vulnerable come the end of the straight. But this puts us back down into fourth. Got two quick drives in front that we know we can keep with. It's just a case of trying to maximise what we do have, and this time, as we come round the long right-hander onto this straight again, we've got Adam Nather getting all over the back of us. We pull it tight and go defensive, but that will compromise us going into the dogleg. End up going a bit too quick in there, going wide, and then I have to keep it tight on the exit. But that allows Adam to get a good run on the outside, and then just able to have better drive, better momentum, throws it up the inside to the fast right-hander, and that puts us back into fifth position now. And we'd be able to just about hold on to Adam's bumper through the last lap, but definitely weren't in a position to be able to make a overtaking manoeuvre. And that would mean that over the first two heats, we'd made some good gains in heat one to get fifth, but in heat two, we'd lost positions and would end up coming fifth again. And here you can just see Adam able to keep a bit more momentum going through that right-hander, and that's where we were losing the time in this one to the guys that we know we have a similar pace to. So not the end of the world. Fifth isn't the worst thing in the world, and we'd end up starting P7 for heat number 3, looking to try and do some damage in our point score to see if we can push ourselves up the A final grid a little bit. 2 fifths should be good enough to put us into the A final, so long as we get a good result here. Getting a little bit fighty, argy-bargy going through the first few corners, and that's 7th up into 4th straight away, as we've got Jockey Wilson, I think that's Glenn Orford currently leading, and Adam Nather. So a bit of a C2 three-way fight at the front at the moment, and I'm going to want to try and get through this as quickly as possible, as we got the ever-quick Joe Holmes wanted to chase us down. This one, you can see there, Adam had a compromised line going through the dogleg, and that really hurt him, allowed Jonathan Wilson to get up the inside of him, just using a bit of momentum coming through the right hand of the dogleg and putting himself back up into second place, as Adam has to think about what he's going to do to make his way forward. And at this point we know that Adam's very quick, so we're quite happy to sit on his bumper for the time being and try and follow him through on any moves that he may well do, and make our life easy. Coming in towards the well, I suppose it's a second hairpin, but they are quite quick 180-degree hairpins. Adam sees the opportunity to go up the inside and make the move on Josh Wilson. And if you're liking the video so far, please do make sure you leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, leave a comment down below as well, get engaged, and be part of the Down to Race community. But moving forward in this one, we got Adam looking to see if he could squeeze it through on Glenn Orford at the front, but nothing doing this time. Glenn had a good run coming out the dogleg, and that was good enough to keep him safe from Adam. And Jockey in front of us saying, come on, let's push forward, let's see if we can get on with this battle. Pace-wise, I felt good in this one. And as you can see there, Adam throwing up the inside of Glenn, that slows them down, allows Jockey to have a little look at the inside, goes side by side with Glenn, able to get the move done, but we weren't quite on his bumper to follow him through. And Glenn actually gets a really good run out the corner, taking that position back. As a bit of a half-hearted move there by Jockey, not really putting himself at the alongside with Glenn, and that compromises his run through the dogleg quite badly, and I'm able to keep a slightly more flowing line through the corner, getting up into third position. Now looking to try and chase down Glenn and Adam before he gets too far off into the distance and makes it impossible for us to get back within touching distance of him. But coming through the first two corners, very, very quick corners here, and Glenn goes a little bit too perfect, trying to make the line through turn number 3, which opens up the chance for an overtaking move, which I gladly take and get up into second position. And we skip forward a few laps now. You can see we've managed to break down the gap to Adam, and I was feeling slightly better through this section than I think he was. Tried to keep it tight, see if I can get the shortest possible run to the curb, but this time not quite happening. Bit of a nibble, get caught up together, and that was a little bit of an optimistic move by me, but it slowed the both of us down. And as you can see, as we look over the shoulder, Joe Holmes now is well onto our bumper, and at this point I was aware that Joe had a penalty. I wasn't sure what the penalty was for, whether it was a one place or more, but it wasn't going to be the end of the world if he got past us. But as he does look to come past us, we end up getting put wide onto the curb, and we lose another 2 positions, and we're going on to the last lap now. So we've gone from what could have been a P2 if we'd managed to have a slightly cleaner exchange with Joe, to fighting to get back onto the podium positions now, as we look to go up the inside of Jacob Harris, but he keeps it alongside as we go into the right-hand corner, and he's able to keep that move. And we can see Joe and Jockey just clearing off down the road through this fighting, and I was kicking myself at this point, as I wanted to try and keep the move round the outside of Joe to see if we could keep up with Adam, and then I could take first on the road. Even if Joe had got past and taken it, then that potentially would have been a win. But in fighting that move, it's only hurt us. But Jacob Harris looks to go up the inside of Jockey, compromises them both. I'm able to just about keep the momentum better. A little bit of jumping in the seat, but able to get a better run, and that'll be third on the road. P2 finish overall, owing to the penalty, or penalties, picked up by Joe in that one. And that second place, combined with 2 fifths, was good enough for 10th on the finals grid. Now we should be alongside Steve Lindley as we come up towards this start, but the pole side of the grid gets a much better launch, and you can see there from Steve starting 9th, who we should be alongside. We end up starting back with Mo Hassan, who was starting 15th, so effectively we started 16th in this one, which is not ideal. And as we go into the first left hand, we get a big hit from the back and just about manage to keep it under control. Have a little bit of a think of going up the inside, going into the right-hander, but nothing doing. And we'll simply look to secure the position that we're in and move forward. Going in towards the dogleg, people really trying to progress forward quickly, but it only hurts them. We've got 2 off towards the right-hand side, 3 wide going through the right-hander, which is not going to help people's momentum as we manage to get up the inside, look to make a move here. Can we follow Pepe through as he looks to make the move, going through the fast right-hander? Not this time, but the driver in front ends up going bouncing over the grass. Up the inside we go, leave space on the outside, but they end up going wide, hitting that curb, which will hurt his momentum, and that's another couple of positions. So we end up getting ourselves back up in terms of the running order to a reasonably good position off the start, having started further down than we were meant to, and would have been ideal. As we skip forward a little bit, we're on the back of Pepe's bumper, and at this point just trying to push him along and not going for a move that's going to slow us down too much. But as we go in towards the left-hander again, we get hit from the back from the driver there, and he ends up making the move through after knocking us on, which I wasn't particularly happy about, but we've still got plenty of time in this A final to try and make the time back, as we got, I think that's Stephen Jennings on the outside of us, one of the Jennings brothers, and ended up being on the outside going to the dog leg, and we ended up both being compromised there. As you can see, the carts in front have managed to pull a little bit of a gap through that exchange, and we'll have to try and catch back up with them. But as the driver with the white helmet there goes at the inside of Pepe, ends up winning ride through that move, but holds on to the position. So 2 questionable moves over the course of the lap to get those positions, sort of knocking me on and keeping the position having gone outside the track limits. But the racing gods will look to intervene. Driver runs wide, puts Pepe back onto his bumper and slows them both down to allow us to catch up as well as we go forward a few more laps. And as Pepe doesn't get a bad run going through the dogleg, but we managed to get a little bit better momentum, so that 10 times quick, through the second phase of that corner and get up alongside. Pepe tries to hold it on the outside, and just again, as we said earlier, the experience I had from the Saturday, there are marbles on the outside of that, and if you hit the marbles, run wide and then hit the curb, it's going to take you off onto the grass, which unfortunately Pepe found out there. Again, after that point, it was very much a chase of the karts in front of us, and we managed to break down the gap to Alex, who is having a fight with karts in front, and we'll see if we can make this a bit of a four-way battle as we go through the left-hander, trying to keep as much momentum as I can't say momentum today, as much momentum as possible, and end up running wide a little bit, which wasn't the worst thing, but definitely wasn't the quickest way around the corner, as we've got Joe Holmes putting up the inside, try to give him the room, just get sort of tangled up with him a little bit, trying to tuck back in behind him a little bit too early, and he gives the finger saying, come on, let's move forward. And I would be quite happy to if I could stick on your bumper, Joe, but you have a tendency to just run off into the distance, so maybe slow down a bit for you next time. But yeah, we can see there fighting with the karts in front, and if I had been able to stick onto Joe's bumper, I possibly could have followed him through as he went past on Adam Nather, and then alongside our driver with the white helmet, managed to make the move there. And Adam looks to go around the outside, but that's not going to work. Runs out of grip, runs wide, and I'm able to go at the inside of Adam, progressing up the field again, trying to sort of chase along with Joe as he makes the moves. I want to be there to be able to capitalise, even if I'm not right behind him at the time. Skipping forward towards the end of that lap, and you can see Joe gets really good run through the penultimate and the first corner, able to get alongside Alex, and then again our driver with the white helmet sort of forces his way alongside, trying to sort of capitalise on that position, but possibly a bit too forcefully, and that ends up putting him out of position, and I'm able to capitalise and get back up behind Alex. We look over the shoulder as he comes back alongside us. Not able to secure the move off though, going through the first part of the dogleg, which means I can keep the tight line going through the right-hander, and even though that means that my acceleration off the corner is going to be slightly compromised, I'm able to keep it going through the fast corner. Get a bit of help from Adam Nather going up the inside, which made that corner quite tricky. Went to turn in and nothing was really happening, so I was getting that sort of push along from behind, which is helpful sometimes, maybe not so helpful on others, but it was enough to keep us alongside and secure that move off. And then as we come towards the end of the race, we just didn't quite have enough time to catch up with Alex. Maybe one more lap would have been on his bumper to see if we could have got one more position, but 8th in the end, and not a bad final. Very exciting and good fun to race in that final. As we can see the championship standings, that puts us into 6th, 10 points behind Alex, and it's very tight behind as well. Well done to Mo Hassan as well, by the way, getting 2nd on the road. Awesome job. But a good fun day at Rissington. Hope you enjoyed, and as always, until next time, have a good one.